Welcome to the Mind Body Energy Imbalance podcast.
Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. Welcome to another episode of the Mind Body Energy Imbalance podcast. And I'm your host, Samut, also known as Mama Yoga. And I wanted to talk with you today about a dynamic that is close to home, near and dear to my heart. And so, as I know and understand that my life is a teaching life, I'm sure there's somebody out there who can resonate with the share today. In recent years, we had people, specifically people like the Obamas, talking about when they go low, we go high. We've had for the longest of time, people saying, well, child, you got to take the high road when someone is misbehaving and, behaving in a way that's not communal, that's not caring and loving and all of that, and oftentimes downright violent. People can behave in that way towards a person. So I'm here to affirm that, you got to take the high road, folks. We are entering a time in history, a time in life where there are folk who don't recognize the wisdom, the grace, the elegance of a person exhibiting high road behavior, right? Hashtag high road behavior. But we need folks to emulate that. I want to say right here at the beginning, right at the outset, don't get it wrong. Being on a high road doesn't mean that you won't defend yourself. It doesn't mean that you throw away and disregard your principles and your morals to let someone else just walk all over you. It's quite the opposite. You can defend yourself. In fact, you can go ahead and give somebody a good old-fashioned behind whooping on the high road. Oh, yes, you can, right? You ever heard of the peaceful warrior? But that's not necessarily the first reaction. It doesn't mean that being on the high road, right? High road behavior does not mean that you constantly submit yourself as a doormat for somebody else's, incorrect bullying, negative behavior, abusive behavior. That's not what that means. The high road, in fact, can relate to and can mean that you hold on to such a high moral compass and such a high moral principles that you in fact remove yourself from the situation of people or persons, institutions, groups, organizations who are just there to abuse and use your energy up, who are there just to treat you incorrectly, who are there, who are behaving in a way that is indicative and in fact synonymous with low road behavior. Right. If everybody gets on the low road, then everything just goes down into chaos. Everything just falls away into chaos. I remember at one point in my life, I'll put these glasses on so I can hear better, speak better. I remember in one point in my life, I was confronted with some communal family members who were just behaving in a very dastardly way, right? They was just off the chain. And the children were perplexed as to why I was so, loving towards them. I never socialized with this particular set of folk and, but I knew them, like I said, from the community, right? I never socialized with them, but whenever I encountered them, it was a ritual of love happening, not fawning and falling all over. I wouldn't run across the room to go and greet them and hug them up. None of that. But if they came close to my 6 feet, right? The energy towards them was always filled with love, always. And then I would go on about my way. The children who observed that were like, why Mama Samu always, they can't stand her. They hate her, why she, being so sweet and nice to them. They can't have the love, the energy of love is your armor. Now that don't mean, again, I have to reiterate this because people get it twisted, right? People get it all confused. The passages that have been handed down from religious texts are, the culprit in that confusion. Because that was translated, slap the other, somebody slap you, you turn the other cheek. That was translated and fed to folk by people who wanted to subdue, abuse, misuse, etc. But when you are filled with love, when the high road for you consists of a stream of love, peace, and joy, that's your armor. The minute you get into a whole thing of, I hate them too, and I'm going to destroy them, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to pull this together to do this on them, and you in trouble. You in trouble because now you have left the perch, the blessed energy and stream of the high road to get in the mud with those who are excellent at the mud. Those who are excellent at being in the mud. You've left your armor when you leave the high road. And that's a lesson I had to learn for myself, because I have all this years of spiritual culture and all these great, wonderful tools of how to navigate my spirit and how to navigate life. But, my Angie be coming out, y'all. It's too easy for me to go there. It's just easy. Let's go. What? Ain't number space and opportunity. Let's go. So, but I realized through the various relationships, experiences, and interactions in my life, I'm terrible in the mud. I don't do well in the mud. I always seem to lose when I get in the mud with somebody. And that's because the high road is where I'm supposed to react from. The high road is where I'm supposed to be an example of in this lifetime, It's not easy, man. Even though your challenges and your situations are cut, they're like a bespoke, fine suit. They are cut specifically for you and your journey throughout your life, right? There's no error. Whatever you're going through is a part of your life. There's no errors in life in that way. If you're sleeping or if your spirit is not mature enough to understand why certain things are happening from a cosmic, metaphysical, spiritual perspective, then God, your ancestors, all have conspired to help you stay asleep, help you stay relaxed, help you, stay kind of like an ignorance is bliss type of consciousness for your protection. Oh, but when it's time for you to wake up, honey, when you're a person who's born under a certain vibrational energy and you are blessed to have studied under a sage, a once in a, how many lifetimes sage, you are blessed to be given the understanding of how to do divination and all of that, of the billions of people on the planet. You are one of literally a handful in terms of billions versus 1,000, 2,000 people who have been awakened to the idea of spirituality and what life journey is about, and the understanding that being in this world is a university. It is the greatest school and, karmic healing training space around. When you're awakened to those realities, then the more you resist looking at your life from those lenses, the more challenging it gets. Them being challenging on their own, honey, the more challenging it gets, right? So I'm not the kind of person who does well in the mud with folks. You know, I have a client, she is just a horrible, horrible person. Like, she's a horrible person. There's no, what you think a horrible person is, think that, and you would be right on point with this particular client. And because, as the young folks say, all 24, all 24 you on go, is you ready? That's my person, my animal spirits first go to. You ain't gonna talk to me any kind of way. You ain't gonna do that, and what? Right? Get in the mud with folk. They'll never work out for me. That mud might work out for somebody else. I have to deal with people from a different angle, a different perspective. You out there may be listening and feel the same. You may have that same, that same ring or similar type of ring, right? And so not wanting to, be all, oh, I see their pain and they're hurting. That's why they so hateful. And that's why they behave the way that they do. They don't really understand, they mixing up this, mixing up that, and putting it here and putting it there. They don't understand the true spiritual karma. They don't understand. So, oh, let me, care for them. That's not it. You just vibrate love. You stay on the high road. You stay elevated in your energy. Spirit will take care of them. And every scenario I'm telling you about, Spirit has. Not me. I don't have to do nothing but stay on the high road. Once I get off the high road, now my vibrational energy has changed. And now you are on their level and they are the best at that level. You ain't gonna win in the mud if you have come with a certain spiritual mandate and spiritual covenant on your life. You're not gonna win in the mud, right? So you stay on the high road. And what does that mean? What do that look like, Mama Samut? I mean, really, because people just walking over me and taking over, treating me any kind of way and saying I need to take up for something that they did wrong. They want me to take responsibility for the thing they did wrong. And your natal reaction is to protect. I got to protect me. I can't let nobody walk over me. I can't do it. Nope, I can't do it. That's the mud. If they in the mud, you leave them in the mud. And you just shine as brightly as you can. Connect as deeply and as with so much focus as you can to what raises your spiritual energy. When people say, I wish them well, or let's send them love, light, and healing, they have to understand what that really means. It means that you are suiting up in an armor of love, light, and healing and joy. Not because you sending joy to them because, they so wicked and evil. You're not celebrating that. You are celebrating the capacity and the joy that you feel when you raise your own vibrational energy. When you put on that suit and you reinforce that energy, that armor of love, peace, and joy. That's the high road. Sometimes you have to leave a person's presence because their mud is so, it's like being in a blender and the mud slinging is getting all over everything, right? So sometimes you have to remove yourself from a situation, and you remove yourself and then you go and reinforce that armor. You reinforce the love vibration within you, right? Loving, sending love, healing, and light to someone, as I was starting to say previously, kind of got, when you're sharing this kind of thing, the spirit just kind of takes over, and you kind of just be in the stratosphere. So y'all bear with me here. When people say I'm sending love, light, and healing, that's a form of prayer, right? That's like saying I'm gonna pray for you. You send love, light, and healing to someone who is affronting, someone who's being dastardly, someone who is behaving in a way that is so negative or trying to get you to do something that's not correct. And you say, okay, in my own mind, body, energy, I'm going to send them love, light, and healing. That doesn't mean you're trying to correct them. It doesn't mean that you're trying to, change them. It doesn't mean anything other than you are suiting up, you're reinforcing that armor around your 6 feet and further. You're permeating the space with love. You're becoming light and thus healing energy. And then you just kind of shine so brightly across all those folks. You could see them in your imagination. People that behave that way, you could see them surrounded by love and light. Now, the mud don't necessarily like that, and it'll probably produce a level of confusion as well as a level of fear about you from the other person or the people or the group or whatever, right? Because it's dark in the mud. And when you try to shine light on a muddy pit, the mud tends to coagulate and get thicker and thicker and thicker, especially if this lifetime is not the lifetime is for them to wake up. And if that's too much, forget them. Shore up your own armor. If the people, person's situation, whatever, the focus is always your own armor. Like they tell you when you're on an airplane, right? If something happens, God forbid, but if something happens and you're on a plane and they say, always put your own oxygen mask on first and then help someone else. Same thing in the metaphysical high road behavior. Let me shore up my love, light, energy. Let me focus on myself being bright and brilliant and full of joy. Joy because I know God's love. Joy because I'm awakened to the fact of what this earthly place is. I'm in school, y'all. And all these relationships and dynamics and people coming to me to help me leave here with my PhD in love, light, and healing. So that I can take that back to my ancestral line and nourish the next up who got next in this ancestral lineage, right? So the joy is not, oh, I'm so joyful that they talking junk about me, or they beating me up, or they trying to get me to take the fall for something that they did. I'm so joyful that, no, that's not it. Because what is that to be joyful about? That is not it. You're joyful because you know God got your back. That's the only thing to be joyful about in this world, is that God got your back. Your ancestors got your back. Your divine angels and guides got your back every step of the way. That is what we celebrate. And then as you look more and more internally and seek to brighten up your own vibration, Spirit will come and assist and give you a doorway out of that situation, or replace it with something else, or help the person in their healing that has nothing to do with you, right? But you just stand in a space of high vibration. You stand in a space on the high road. You take step by step by step on that blessed high road. Because truthfully, if everybody get in the mud, if everybody is on the low road, then the whole world is in trouble. More trouble than what we are perceiving with this incoming energy shift, right? Here in America. It really is to be understood that when there is evil on the rise, good, wellness, love, light, and healing is always ahead of it. It may seem like love, light, and healing and peace and joy are behind evil. But that's because evil's so damn loud. Evil makes so much noise and bells and whistles and all this, pontificating and big chest thumping. Love, light, and healing is a quieter, more whispered vibration, frequency. It's never too far behind. So we just have to turn our attention from, oh my goodness, what is, what they doing? And they, the red situation, the red folks, the red ribbon people, they are behaving like this and they doing that. Turn your attention away from that and focus on how can you increase your frequency, the love, light, and healing vibration around you, so that you can resonate not only for your own protection and well-being, but for those who are around you that can receive that, as well as to be an example of what's needed when evil, negative people are more prominent. Just like we see them, we need to see people manifesting the high road behavior. That's what we need to see, right? I got to say it again because folks are really confused. Being on a high road, having high road behavior does not mean you just let somebody stomp all over you, or you let people treat you in a way that is harmful to you, that is detrimental. That's not what that means. It doesn't mean that you take one of your eyes out and you give it to somebody who is in the low road behavior. That's not what that means. You defend yourself when you need to defend yourself. You remove yourself when you need to remove yourself. You hold your principles, your honor, your integrity in the front. And most assuredly, most thing you do is you nurture up that love, healing light, that armor of love, healing light, peace, and joy within you. That's what you do. Because that's going to repel anything physical. That's stronger than anything physical that you might want to do. And sometimes you got to do some of that too. But you can't lose your self. You can't lose your soul fighting in the mud. You got to get the mud to come out. You got to get them to come out of the mud. If you want to fight, you can meet me over here on the high road. Make your way over here close to the high road. Right? And sometimes you do have to smack somebody down in the mud now and then get out of it as quick as you can. I know I'm saying a lot of stuff, but I just don't want people to be confused that just because you on the high road don't mean that, you won't take somebody to task. And you probably should, especially if they are assaulting your integrity, especially if they trying to get you to take responsibility for something that's really not your responsibility, that's on them, especially if they are causing physical harm. The love and light and energy that you have, sometimes you have to correct that in a bombastic way. But that doesn't mean that you become an evil adjacent. You can, your parents, if you have good, healed, balanced parents, which is, kind of really not something that happens often or a lot of people in the world. But if you have good, balanced parents, healed parents, right? Your correction will be out of love, not fear, not worry, not anxiety, not low road behavior. Your correction will be from a space of love. I want you to be the best you can possibly be. Because someday I'm not going to be here. And you got to survive out here. And I'm going to show you, we got to correct this low road behavior. Now, here's an example of the high road. Same thing with groups, organizations, relationships, community, non-community, politicians, all of this is the same thing. So don't get confused. High road behavior is not stagnation. High road behavior is not complacency rather. High road behavior is not, you just letting somebody put their foot on your neck because of their own fears and insecurities. That's not high road behavior. In fact, that is capitulating to the low road. If somebody is fearful about your magnetism, about your capacity, about your energy, about your strength, and you cover your light, you cover your energy so that they don't get offended or hurt or upset. They're in an authority position and you shine and upsets them. That's low road behavior. You a lot of times have to deal with that with a separation from that energy. And if you can't separate from that energy, either way, you gotta, just make sure you stay light, love, healing, and joyful. You have to do practices that help you stay there. You have to surround yourself, visualize yourself surrounded with love, light, healing. Feel the joy viscerally in your physical body. Viscerally, that's what that means, right? You want to feel yourself joyful with the image that God got you. It ain't nothing to be worried about. It's all to be joyful about because God got my back. And then you can, making it real, envision times where good things just happen to you. They just happen, like good things. Find the good things and nourish on that. Feed on that, the good things, visually, while you're feeling joyful inside. And that is keeping the high road within your spirit, within your consciousness, repaired and up to par as you continue to journey on the high road. So folks who are feeling that way around you, oftentimes people are afraid of your energy. This is something that I've had to deal with like my entire whole life since I'm a little girl. People are afraid of your energy, and so they want to subdue it. They want you to lower your output. They want you to lower your confidence within yourself. That's really the words right there. Come on through, ancestors. Y'all help me find the words here. Don't help me find the words. Speak through me. That's really what's happening. They want to lower you. They want you to lower your confidence because of their own fears and insecurities. That's low road behavior. You can't get into bed with that. You cannot, get on that path with them. So you stay vibrant as much as you can. I heard, I watch EYL, Rashad, Troy Millings, Michael McDonald, I think is the brother's name. He's the off-camera, behind-the-scenes, engineer genius of it all. And of course, Ian Dunlap on Market Mondays, right? So the quick story to kind of reinforce what I'm sharing here. Troy Millings and Rashad Bilal were on Joe Budden's podcast, right? And Joe Budden, he's messy as all get out. Like he's a shock jock, he's participates in, the drama for his ratings and what have you, but he's a professed introvert, right? So anyway, that's neither here. That's just a side note. But Rashad and Troy were on Joe Budden's podcast, and they were talking about InvestFest come up. And so Joe Budden was like, well, I know y'all have had a meteoric rise. I know y'all have left some graves on the wayside. Y'all have did some people wrong. Y'all have been negative or, horrible to some people. And I'm sure y'all have left some people behind to this meteoric EYL rise that y'all have. And Rashad, in a very, very wise, like ancient, I'm just making some little commentary here because I'm talking to y'all today. A lot of stuff you could tell Rashad is, probably, very narrow in his perspective about women and all this kind of thing. But oftentimes he has he's very wise in what he shares across these airwaves. And his response was, we didn't leave anybody behind. And then Troy chimed in, another wise young man. Troy chimed in and said, you don't ever have to leave anybody behind. He said, we have 30 people that work at EYL. All of them we know from childhood, all of them. Nobody's really like new like that. These are people that we hired from our hood. These are people that we've known since we were kids or at least teenagers or young adults. We didn't leave anybody behind. And Joe Budden with his messy self is like, I'm sure there's somebody out there. I can't wait till y'all get in trouble because I'm sure there's somebody. And Troy went on to say, you don't ever have to leave anybody behind. All you have to do is just continue to shine and continue to elevate. And those that can breathe at the elevated level will be there with you. And those that can't will fall away. I thought that was so profound because that is the same protocol in terms of high road behavior. You just keep love, light, energy shining. Keep nourishing your own self. Keep rising, keep elevating in your relationship with the divine, in your relationship with your spiritual guides, your ancestors. Keep nourishing that. And on the earthly plane, you just walk in an elevated way. And those who can breathe at that elevation will be there with you. And those who can't will fall away. Will fall away. That's been this episode of Mind, Body, Energy, and Balance. Thank y'all so much for always tuning in. Share the video if you like. Please subscribe. You know how the algorithms do, y'all. It's a whole nother being that they created known as algorithm. And so, if you share this message with somebody who you think it can benefit, you share it with them. It's all love, light, energy, and healing over here with a dash of, Trenton, with a dash of realism, keeping it practical, keeping it real, keeping it digestible, because what is esoteric and spiritual culture if you can't really understand how it relates to your life, right? And so that's what we're here to share with you on the Mind, Body, Energy, and Balance podcast. And thank you so much for tuning in. We love y'all. Stay on the high road, y'all. We need it more than ever. Peace and love.